Hello there. This pandemic is not a free event. It will now have to be paid for in hard cash. Firstly, please subscribe and like this video to give my channel a boost, and I'm always uploading new content, so please do check back daily, and a big thanks to my Patreon and PayPal supporters. As the country hibernates into another set of pandemic lockdowns with no end in sight, the Treasury has to work out how to pay for it all, and that will be no easy task. The people are getting quite used to the magic money tree in the garden of number 11 Downing Street, and opposition MPs are all queuing up to see how much of its fruit they can get the government to squander. Now some say, just keep borrowing because the interest rates are low, or even, why not just print the money and be done with it? And further, if we do go down that route, Rishi Sunak could fly over the populace and deposit helicopter money into everyone's bank account every month forever. Land of milk and honey. Marvellous. Except everyone would go home to take up painting, reading and online shopping, but there'd be no one to stack the shelves. Anyway, I was in favour of a short-term period of cash distribution to the masses in the form of a monthly paycheck over the worst of the pandemic, but that would never have been sustainable in the long term without a massive restructuring of our economic system, and that's another debate. But right now we're pulling the most enormous vacuum in history on the national finances while our economy stagnates further, on purpose. Yes, the ONS has today announced a massive 15.5% rise in GDP in the 3 months to September. But when you're starting from such a low base, it only goes about halfway to addressing previous losses, as you can see from the right-hand side of this graph. We are, though, still 8.2% below where we were in February. The ONS also reports that GDP rose in September by 1.1%, but it's going to take a lot of those to claw our way back to where we were at the beginning of the year. And a low GDP feeds through to jobs and pay, and that will obviously hit the Chancellor's tax take. And the choice is a return to austerity in the form of government department cuts, or to raise taxes. Now, the government pledged during the run-up to the last December's general election not to raise taxes for the ordinary folk, and going down the route of austerity again might just sting them a bit. But I would surmise that the pandemic might have put pay to all of that thought. And to get people on board with tax hikes, the Chancellor will also have to take chunks from big business. And now we're hearing some of the ideas being circulated. The Times is reporting that the middle classes might be facing a £14 billion capital gains tax raid on any investments they might sell. This would hammer second homeowners, investors and pensioners and the like. This has come out of a review of CGT that Sunak asked the Office for Tax Simplification to conduct. And their view is that the government should consider more closely aligning CGT with income tax, as well as taxing more of the share-based rewards arising from employment and of the accumulated retained earnings in smaller companies at income tax rates. But the Foundation does point out that in the 2017-18 tax year, £8.3 billion of capital gains tax was paid and £55.4 billion of net gains, after deduction of losses, reported by a total of 265,000 individual UK taxpayers. So it would take quite an increase across the board and hitting more people to squeeze £14 billion out of it. There is also talk of increasing corporation tax to 22%, a suggestion that comes from the Resolution Foundation. Now, there will be many small business owners out there who have suffered through this pandemic and who would have also received no financial help from the taxpayer. I think they will be very aggrieved at being expected to pick up the tab for that. And the Resolution Foundation also says that income tax, inheritance tax and VAT thresholds should be frozen, as well as wealth taxes should be reformed, business asset disposal and the step up in basis of capital gains upon death should be scrapped. Investment income tax-free allowances should be simplified and reduced. The maximum pension tax-free lump sum should be reduced, and a council tax supplement for homes worth over £2 million should be introduced. And then to pay for future needs, they recommend a flat 4% rate health and social care levy on income above £12,500 should be introduced, alongside a levelling down in national insurance rates for employees to match those paid by the self-employed. And according to the report, this could raise £17 billion a year, but that there would be offsets so as not to penalise the least well off. These offsets would leave employees earning £19,500 and below better off, as well as self-employed workers earning less than £17,000, says the report. But the Foundation does recognise the need to keep the people on side with tax changes and says, public support is necessary and so taxes on corporate crisis windfall profits should be considered. So those corporates that made more profit than usual because of the pandemic might find themselves with an unwelcome tax bill should Rishi take this approach. And there are many, many more such ideas being floated about. To find any asset or pot of money that can have a slice removed to fill the Treasury coffers. But overall, the Chancellor will be casting around for ways to not so much replenish the vaults, but more to plug the gaping holes where he can. With the way this is going, it looks like we'll be ending this particular lockdown in England on the 2nd of December, and there's already talk of a new tier system where many people could still find themselves unable to work in the weeks before Christmas. And I'm already half expecting the dreaded R number to rise above 1 as families get together over the festive season, all ready for another national lockdown in the new year. And many companies from the small to the large rely on this period for a hefty portion of their annual takings. And it seems that in general only the very largest of them are able to operate profitably in any way. Or that is the assumption anyway. Whereas most of the others are either losing money or just about holding on, with many of them having already spent a fortune on becoming COVID safe to trade, and then they get shut down. The question is, who are we going to tax? We might find out when Rishi makes his statement to the House on the 25th of November. Anyway, if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell, or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it by following the link in the descriptions box below and support me on Patreon or PayPal. So who do you think Rishi Sunak will end up taxing? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching.